I was driving home from work and had to stop at the Red Cross to give blood, which I do about every 3 months by appointment. I went in, checked in, and waited my turn. They ran my card through the computer and asked me all the stupid questions. Well, I guess they weren't really stupid, but I kept sitting there saying no, until we got through the whole thing. I was a 6-gallon donor, so it was almost always the same thing. I was never in the hospital or out of the country, so it was pretty easy for me. The only person I've had sex with in the last 20 years has been my wife of 18 years. Yes, we had sex before we got married, just like everyone else in the world. The questions about I asked, "Am I low on iron or something?" She looked at me and asked if I was any relation to Judy Lawrence. I said, "Of course, Mary, she's my wife." You know that. What's the problem? Mary? Jim, Judy came in this morning to give blood, but she was turned away. What does that have to do with me? Jim, I don't know how to say this exactly, but according to her form this morning, it was determined that she had sex with someone who tested positive for HIV within the last 3 months. This means that anyone she had sex with may have contracted the disease and will not be able to donate blood for 12 months. I'm sorry, Jim. Wait a minute, did she just come in here and tell the Red Cross this? No, Jim. When someone goes to a doctor or hospital and is found to be a carrier of the virus, they are asked to give the names of people they've had sex with in the last year. This list is confidential, but it is given to the Red Cross so we can keep track of infected blood. So, Mary, you're saying that my beloved wife was on the carrier list? Yes, Jim. The carrier should have contacted his sexual partners and told them he was a carrier so they could see a doctor. But according to your wife's profile, she was never notified. Who is this carrier who says he had sex with my wife? Mary, I'm sorry, Jim. I can't tell you because you didn't have sex with this person. You are the second contact, and you need to find out from your wife. I'm sorry, Jim. I can't tell you. I hope you understand, just as I can't mention your name to anyone else. Mary, we've been friends for a long time, and I'm not going to insist, but what are the chances of me getting infected? Jim, the chances of you not being infected are very high because this was a second exposure, and I shouldn't be telling you this, but your wife said you were using protection, so that's in your favor too. I thanked Mary and went home. What was I going to do? How do I deal with this? After 18 years of marriage? We have a daughter who just graduated from high school and is in college but lives at home. What am I going to tell her? I always thought we had a good marriage. We had sex or lovemaking on a regular basis. In fact, we just did it last week. God, I was all over her body that night. Now I may regret that it was our special night. We went out for dinner and drinks. The sex when we got home was great. I tried to remember everything we did. I remember the first time we kissed. Damn, love seems so clinical now. God, I must have a venereal disease of the mouth. Then I remembered her going down on me too. Then we kissed some more. Damn her for risking our lives, and all for what I had yet to find out. I had to calm down. I had to act like nothing had happened until I got the son of a bitch's name. Then it would hit the fan, as usual. By the time I got home, dinner was almost ready. Beth. Our daughter always started it, and my wife usually got home before me and finished it. It was kind of a family time where we all sat around and talked about the day before. We probably ate together at least 4 days a week. Today might be one of those days. We sat down to eat, and Beth started talking about her first few weeks at college. She was so excited and talked the whole meal. Then she said that a friend was picking her up and they were going to load the dishwasher for her. She really was a good kid. I couldn't help but be proud of her. As soon as Beth left, my attitude changed. I looked at Judy and asked her how her day had been. She replied that it had been a normal day without mentioning anything about giving blood or even trying to give blood. I looked her right in the eye and said, "Judy, would you say that the most important thing in a marriage is trust and honesty?" She looked at me strangely and asked, "What's this about?" "Jim, why are you asking me such a question?" "Just answer the question and I'll explain later," I said. "Okay, I'll play along." "Yes, I believe that marriage is built on trust and honesty." She replied that I wanted this to be almost like a game. I didn't want her to try to second-guess me. So I told her that today at work one of the members of our group that always has lunch together asked a question. Do we feel that our wives or husbands lie to us about important things? Not little white lies, but really important things? Most responded that they believed their spouses would tell them the truth. Judy asked me what my answer was. I told her. I told the group that we have a strong marriage and we can talk about our problems, and I hope you will tell me the truth. Judy looked at me and said, "Jim, I would never lie to you." I told her that if she lied to me, I would never be able to trust her again, and without trust, marriage is impossible. Then I looked at her and said, "Well, we've had our talk. Do you have any secrets? Do you want to tell me? I'm ready to listen." She made as if she was going to say something, but then she stopped. Then she said, "No, Jim, I have no secrets from you." Then I said, "By the way, Judy, I went to give blood today." She looked at me a little nervously and said that she had gone, but they had told her that she had low iron levels and couldn't give blood. This time I looked at her and said mine wouldn't be taken either. Something about my wife might have HIV. Judy covered her mouth with her hands and said, "Oh my God!" They said it was confidential. I didn't know what they were going to tell you. I'm so sorry. I looked at Judy and said, "Trust and honesty is what makes a marriage. I gave you every chance to tell me, and you're still keeping it from me. Who the hell have you been sleeping with that you're willing to sacrifice your marriage and possibly give us STDs, please? Jim, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. It won't happen again. I promise you, this is the last time I'm going to ask who it was. I will go to your office and ask every son of a bitch if you don't tell me." Judy cried and begged me to forgive her. Then she said it was one of Bob Hawkins' salesmen at work. She said he had just come to the neighborhood and would only be here for a few months for training, and then he would move. He flirted with all the women. One day he asked her out to lunch. She didn't know why, but he kept hitting on her, flirting with her, and finally she gave in. She decided it would be a one-time thing. She explained that he was leaving at the end of the month, that his temporary stay here was coming to an end. She told him to wear a condom, but next to me, he was a lousy lover. He was just her. He had no idea how to make love. Judy looked at me and said, "Jim, I'm so sorry I cheated on you. It was the only time in our marriage that I was stupid and acted like a schoolgirl.